final countdown. Offset back again.
Yeah, I had to headbang to the countdown music this time so I wouldn't fall asleep. So I was just
just going hard at it. All right.
Yeah, I should have put the wig on, but relive the glory days, but too late.
How you doing, man? I haven't talked to you. I feel like the last two shows, normally we'll catch up a little bit beforehand, but the last month has been rowdy. It's been crazy busy for both of us. So it's kind of nice though, because then we get on and like we haven't really caught up. So it's good to catch up a little bit. What sorts of like life stuff are you dealing with right now? Are you still building a tower in your backyard?
Well, actually today it's funny you mentioned that, because actually today I finally said to my wife, I said, and her as well. She was like, we need to just take a day where we just chill and relax. We do some stuff. I don't want to say for us, because everything we do at the house is for us and for our family and for our friends to visit and things like that. But we were like, we're just going to chill today. We're going to do some things. And so we did. I mean, it was an awesome day. I mean, I could tell you guys about it, but we only have an hour, and we know how Dustin falls behind on comments. So.
Yeah, I was just telling Steve, I'm probably already 20 minutes behind on comments. I will get to say hi to everybody here in a minute. But I was just telling Steve, I'm heading out of town for the next couple of days to go to my grandfather's funeral. I made a video about it going back a couple of months ago, but he was 92. He was an Air Force pilot, like absolute legend in our family. And he passed away a couple of months ago. And this weekend is kind of the celebration of life where we, put him to rest type thing up in New Hampshire, Vermont. And so kind of bittersweet, but I'm looking forward to getting, a break from the family. It's kind of like a running, my dark humor showing through, kind of a running joke where it's like my wife and I are getting like a date night at the funeral, because we're getting a break from the kids, and going up and out with family, because it is kind of like a little family reunion. So it'll be good, but also, sad too.
Well, yeah, and I got a question for you, like the chat. The chat's talking about the Canadian smoke and such. Are you getting that as far south as North Carolina?
So what was really strange is our internet went out today, and there was all the speculation, in our neighborhood that it was this Canadian smoke that's coming down, and then I'm thinking, well, I'm going up closer to it, like I'm actually going to be up closer to the border. I didn't think that the Canadian invasion was going to happen while I was alive, but this is it, guys. This is the Canadians making their move.
I think we got some here. I think we got some here in Delaware from New Jersey first. There were some wildfires, I believe, in New Jersey last week sometime.
Oh, wow.
And then now there's the Canadian smoke as well. And we, like I said, we got out today and we drove the whole coast of Delaware, basically from where we live south all the way to Ocean City, Maryland. Stopped off and did a bunch of stuff. And you could see it, the smoke pretty bad, especially, when you're out near the ocean and stuff and the sky's really clear. I mean, visibility is clear. You got visibility for a long way, so you can kind of see how smoky and stuff is. But I guess people in LA just call it smog, right? We're not used to it.
That's right. Although I did see something about New York City where it was like pitch black, like it was really bad because the air quality is already not very good in New York City. So I can imagine that it's like really bad up there now. But all right, let's say hi to some of the chat people. I'm starting to feel nostalgic. We're already 15 minutes behind on the chat, so let's go back in time a little bit. Jordan Hudson, what is going on? Michael Stone, good to see you. I did see your comment, your reply to about the insurance, Michael, and that's good to hear. He had asked a question about CIS collectors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, insurance services, which I have a policy. I don't know if you have a policy with them, Steve, but anyway, just the collectibles insurance stuff. I made a video on it, and he was yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Right.
Sean, what's going on? Bradley Helston, Nuggets. I know we're up against the Nuggets heat, so appreciate you guys tuning in. It's going to be some deep competition tonight with NBA playoffs, NBA finals, not even just NBA playoffs.
NBA finals.
Does
anybody care about Game 3 when the series is tied? Unless you're a Nuggets or a Heat fan.
Yeah, I'll probably watch like games 5, 6, 7, as they happen, if they do happen like that. I'll watch those.
But maybe it is more relevant because I cared about Game 1 because I wanted to see who would go up. And then I kind of thought that Denver was going to win game 2. So I didn't even pay attention. I didn't even know that Miami won till the next day. And so now we're at 1-1. So now are you like, okay, who's going to take the actual lead again tonight? So does it make it more exciting? Or is it just kind of like, man, this is going to go 6 or 7. So I'm not even going to get invested in it right now. I don't know what most people think.
Even if the Heat went up, Denver's a team that could come back. So I don't feel like it's like, oh, I've got to watch every game, because if the Heat go up 3-1, the series is over. I feel like Denver could easily rattle off 3 wins. So for me, it's not, unless it's an elimination game, I'm good. I'll hold out. I love podcasts. What's going on? You guys getting that Canadian smoke? Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Hopefully it clears out. I don't know what the deal is with that. I haven't been, I don't watch the news that much other than kind of major headlines. Aliens have landed or whatever. I don't really pay attention to the daily stuff unless it's
that's not news. That's old.
That's
fake. Old. So if you remember, while we're touching on the NBA Finals, last live stream, it was Miami 3-0 over the Celtics. So that's how far we go back. And you were like, what do you think, Steve? What's going to happen? And I said the Heat in 7. That's when the Heat were up 3-0. I said the Heat in 7. And that has happened.
Wow.
And then I said the Nuggets in – I said the Heat in 7 and the Nuggets in 6 is what I said.
Steve's got that almanac.
The Heat were up 3-0. So Heat in 7 has already happened. I mean, it's on video. You can go watch it on the live stream last week. But, I said Heat in 7, Nuggets in 6.
Nuggets in 6. All right.
It's rigged. Well, I already know what's going to happen.
I know. Steve's got the almanac from Back to the Future. He's got the almanac, y'all. Mark Cypress.
Great Sports Almanac.
You got it?
Ready for the National. Speaking of the National, we're going to get 3 entries tonight in this live stream. Since I haven't put out a video or done a live stream on my own, we're going to get 3 entries for the National giveaway tonight, just whenever we get some more people in here and get some people – so some people have a chance.
This is a show where you want to be. You want to get all your friends tuning in and logging in with all 8 of your accounts. This is
it's going to be random trivia questions of stuff that you guys should be able to answer if you've been following the content. One of them might be like a sports kind of history question, and then the other 2 will be content related.
What's up, Hobby Champs? Ready to be influenced? We're here for you. We're here to provide micro influence. That's what we are. We're micro influencers. All right. South Florida. Yeah, the Miami Heat are on fire. And now Lionel Messi is coming to Miami. How about that, Orlando?
Oh, yeah.
The big dog is coming down south.
Now, how long will that last, though? Because when superstars from Europe come to Major League Soccer, they tend to really dominate and then realize that they can still play competitively elsewhere. Like Zlatan, who just retired, Ibrahimovic, he just retired this week. I saw that. But I remember when he came over to Major League Soccer and had like a 7-goal game or something, and then went back to Serie A in Italy and still was like a top goal scorer in that league, which is a good league. It's a defensive league. So there's not a lot of goals scored in Serie A, but Italian football is a little more defensive oriented.
Yeah.
But he still was very effective. He was still very effective.
Yeah. I was a little bit surprised. And again, I don't follow soccer to know maybe this was in the works, but I was completely blindsided by it because I was thinking, like, I know that he's aging, but I don't think it's that bad. Like, it's not
there has to be a lot of money involved. Is there any disclosure on a contract or anything,
No, but he passed up Saudi Arabia money. So it has to be some serious money. But does the MLS have that kind of money? I'm confused. I don't know. Maybe just wanted to hang out in Miami.
It is Miami,
All the ladies in Miami. He was just like, you know what? Let's go to Miami.
Party in the city when the heat is on. Will Smith sang about it.
Great. Now I have the South Park Blame Canada song stuck in my head.
Well, maybe he'll have Miami by Will Smith stuck in his head after that. And maybe even a better song by the end. I'm wearing a Pearl Jam hat. Get a Pearl Jam hat stuck in your head. Or
there
head.
You go.
Not a hat. I got a Pearl Jam hat already stuck in my head. Get a Pearl Jam song stuck in your head.
Yeah, Steve sleeps with that hat on. All right. We get from Australian bushfires here in New
It's
Zealand.
literally become infused into my head. Like I can't take it off now. It's like Joe Dirt's hair.
Yeah, the smoke from Canada is a little suspect. Everyone's a little bit little tipsy on that smoke. Oh, we've got a very specific LeBron question, Steve. This is a Steve question. Where do you guys see LeBron cards going the next 12 to 24 months? I'm assuming he retires in 2 years.
I don't own any LeBron cards, so I haven't given this much thought. I usually give big thought in the cards that I'm going to spend money on as far as a time frame. So you're putting a time frame on this, so it's, I just don't spit out answers without doing some research, but I'll try to help here a little bit.
Let me piggyback off this question, Steve. What are your thoughts about like a time period between retirement, or kind of like the twilight of the career, retirement, and then like Hall of Fame induction, and then like, wow, this guy was a legend. But is there like a 5-year? Because I also think about Tom Brady,
right,
as well.
Right.
Tom Brady and LeBron are kind of similar, except Tom is the GOAT of his sport. But I mean, it's a similar deal, though. You have a lot of money in those two players.
So
I mean, not you, but like the hobby
right,
does.
And I have no idea where LeBron cards are priced right now. And there's a lot of LeBron cards. I'm going to assume we're talking about rookie cards. Are we talking about Topps flagship cards or Topps Chrome base? Are we talking about rare stuff? 2003 is a year that there's a lot of options to buy stuff, because you have Upper Deck and you have Topps both making basketball cards. So again, this question, to answer it without any kind of extra specifics, is just a tough answer. Like, I'm not even going to pretend to tell you that I know. If you want to give a couple specifics, I might be able to help. But I'm going to need price points as well, because I can't say I think something's going to be more valuable in 12 to 24 months than it is now if I don't even know what the price is right now. It just wouldn't make sense for me to give an answer like that.
Yeah, it's fair. LeBron has such a wide spectrum of cards. I mean, it's like that's a good point. All right. I'm trying to figure out where they're very affordable lately. I'm a buyer. I think he's talking about LeBron, but I'm not sure.
I'm going to guess.
I love LeBron's Topps Chrome rookie, and have every version except the gold refractor. That's nice.
I mean, I'm going to say, if you want to look for a card that's going to be, the Michael Jordan Fleer for LeBron, it's going to be the Topps Chrome base, because it's a base card and it's going to be easier to obtain and have a more fair of a price point, and it's probably going to be easier to move in and out of just because of the being a little bit more affordable. You got to remember, when you start getting into numbered LeBron stuff and refractors and stuff, you're talking about a lot of money, which always cuts out demographic of who can buy your card. And, not only finding the person with the financial ability to do it, but the person that's actually in demand of that certain card. So, again, yeah. I mean, if you want to grab a Topps Chrome because you just want to have one in your collection and say, hey, I want to have a rookie card of the top 10 basketball players to ever play, or top 5, and LeBron falls into your top 5, then I would say that one. I wouldn't go with the Topps paper or anything like that.
I still feel like
there's a lot of the 2003 Topps Chrome.
I still feel like prices have some room to go down, on a guy like him.
I think that's true too. And like I said, I don't even know what the prices are right now. But I believe that prices can go down. Because I wouldn't call the Topps Chrome base to be like a high-end collectible. I would call it to be a nice card for your collection, but I wouldn't call it a high-end collectible that's hard to track down.
Yeah.
Even in a PSA 10, even in a high grade, there's a lot of them. Think of the Luka base Prism. That card was, a big card, and now it's a card nobody really.
The question too for the chat, it's also, you wonder, because a lot of money moves up into certain players, like you just mentioned Luka Doncic, or you mentioned like a LeBron James. Now, a lot of people talk that their LeBron James are their buys and their holds, but how many people actually hold long-term that stuff? Not for the reason that they're just getting out of cards, but maybe they're getting out of that card to get into something else, or to get into another LeBron card, or, they're like, hey, I'm going to get out of LeBron and I'm going to get into, some new prospect that I think is undervalued, or because a lot of people, you have a certain amount of cash and then you've got your card equity, and sometimes you have to use some of your card equity to get into other things. So if there is, a huge swath of money that's in a certain player, you also have to ask too, are people going to really diamond hands hold onto that stuff, everybody, or are they going to move out of it? And I think that a lot of people over the last few years have been kind of slowly or quickly, depending on how you look at it, moved out of stuff. And so the question is there more of that coming, or are people going to, and I personally think there's still more of the coming off, more people moving off of stuff. That's just what I think.
And like, it's tough because, a couple months ago, I wanted a Willie Mays rookie, and there's not a lot of choices. There's like a 51 Bowman if you want a rookie. If you want a 52 Topps, it's a great card. But if you want a rookie, it's a 51 Bowman. So say when LeBron cards become vintage, someday LeBron cards will be vintage, or whatever the title is going to be for cards of that age, right? So 2003, it's already a 20-year-old card. So in 20 more years, it's a 40-year-old card. When it becomes a 50-year-old card, does it become a vintage card? And then are people who are new to the hobby that are going to be like, hey, I want to collect vintage basketball. Well, what's vintage to them? Maybe a LeBron. They probably never got to see him play, right? And they're going to go through the same thing that a lot of people went through with Jordan. What's going to be the card that they're going to want to go back and get? That's what makes it tough, because there's so many options, like you said, where with a lot of the ones that we talked about, like I just did with Willie Mays, or even if you talk about Jordan 86, there's not a lot of options. And if you want older basketball greats like Kareem, or if you want Wilt Chamberlain, there's just not options. You have to buy that card, and that's not going to apply when it comes to LeBron. So, that's another factor to give it to when you're talking about, if you're thinking about long-term and things going in cycles and ups and downs in the hobby, and whether a big spike comes back around in 20 or so years, what's going to be the card that is going to be the card that is wanted? And it's really hard to pinpoint something like that.
Yeah, I agree.
And a card like that is going to have to be wanted in mass quantities for value purposes, because you're going to need the demand, because there's plenty of supply on that card. Jordan cards kind of hold their value when you're talking about like a PSA 8. They don't really fluctuate too much between much of a needle. They cap out at about a certain number, they bottom out at about a certain number, and they always sell within a certain ballpark. Could that happen to,
think about too how much money is concentrated into 86 Fleer Jordans. And then what if Michael Jordan had the different variations of rookie cards,
right,
that LeBron had, and then that money gets spread out, between all these different cards.
That's what I mean about the Jordan Fleer. It's an iconic card. A lot of people put it on their Mount Rushmore. I don't think that there's a LeBron card that you say is iconic and say this is iconic, unless it has something really special about it, like a gold refractor or a black refractor. But I mean, that's a whole different ballgame, because now it's not even on the same. You're talking apples and oranges. You're talking base cards in comparison to cards that have limited print runs.
Ham bone in the house. I think Joe's talking about Lionel Messi. I think you're talking about Lionel Messi. It's definitely a money grab, but did you just see him play in the World Cup finals, Joe? I mean, I don't think that he's over the hill. It seemed like he was still pretty good.
Well, you say I don't want to say washed up, but you say a slowed down, older version of a prime Messi is still as good as the basic / decent player in soccer. He may not be Messi that's leading the league in all categories, assists and goals and everything anymore, but I'm going to guess that he's still competitive.
Cool. I don't know enough about these game used SP stuff. That's pretty cool though. David Beckham is part owner of the Miami soccer team. Yeah, well, maybe they're teaming up. Hey, I'm not doing too bad on the chat. I'm only 11 minutes behind. It's not too bad. Steve, why don't we talk about, why don't you tell the story about eBay authenticity, and we can kind of roll into that topic.
Oh, so you want me to start with the eBay authenticity thing?
Well, you bought a card. You can kind of talk about that and then
Right.
kind of roll into what happened.
So I bought a card off eBay a couple weeks ago. It was prior to our last live stream, because in our last live stream, I was like, man, I have a card coming, but it's not due to be here until June 5th. So this card should have arrived 2 days ago. Today's the 7th. This card I paid a little bit over $450 for. So it was a raw card. It had to go through eBay authenticity. So I thought eBay had it listed to be delivered on June 5th, like I said. The card arrived on, what day did I call you? The card arrived like 2 days after our last live stream. Let me take a look.
Yeah.
But anyway, that card arrived what seemed to be like 10 days earlier than expected. All right. So that card arrived 10 days earlier than expected. And I'm like, there's no way in hell that this went through eBay authenticity. So I'm looking at the shipping history. I'm looking to see if it went to the eBay hub, the authenticator, because you can follow that on eBay. It says being shipped to authenticator. They give you an update saying authenticator has authenticated your card. Sometimes the shipping will update based on that, the delivery date. But none of that was there. It was basically shipped from point of origin directly to my house. So I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Is there an issue? Things like that. And come to find out, I almost did a video on this, but instead I was like, let me read about it first. And apparently it doesn't apply to certain countries. It's mostly just here in the United States where eBay authenticity has to happen. If a card is being shipped from lots of countries overseas, it doesn't go through eBay authenticity. So
it's interesting.
Is interesting because, and I don't want to give anybody any ideas by talking about something like this, but what is to stop someone from setting up an account with someone else and just shipping all their cards? If someone really wanted to run a scam on fake cards, they could send them to a friend overseas, and they could have a whole racket going where, okay, I'm going to sell in the United States, but I'm going to ship overseas, and my overseas address is my eBay address. So I don't know. I just feel like that's something that I don't think is advertised. Like you have to it's there, but you have to read it, right? Because eBay will advertise, hey, this is going to protect you. Hey, this is good for you. This is good for the seller. This is good for the buyer. And it is. I'm not going to argue that. I don't mind. I don't like the wait for my cards, but I don't mind the system right now. But they don't say out loud in big bold print that if you're buying a card from China, it is not going to be authenticated by eBay.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was.
Well, and the irony is that's where I would want it to be authenticated from, right. Buying something overseas more so than here in the US, just because stuff, overseas, it doesn't matter where it's from. It could be anything, and it's tough to, I don't know. Yeah. It's part of the reason why I don't sell necessarily overseas. Part of it's because I just don't want to fill out customs forms. I'm lazy, with all that. But then the other part is just like, I don't know, like how would I handle a return, from someone overseas or whatever. I just don't want to deal with it really. But yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if anyone in the chat has had any buys like that from, or, sales or whatever, where you've run into that.
Okay, so I see a comment that came in late, just relating to what we were talking about from LA Collection. But,
okay, I'll come back to this U.S. sports because I know exactly what you're talking about. What time is that comment?
9:28. It just popped up right after
okay.
I was done talking about it.
9:28.
Yeah, he just says, "Hey Steve, I'm a high volume seller, and every once in a while I ship a 500 plus graded card, and eBay provides me with a direct address, no authenticity guarantee process. It's a glitch here in the US too. Now, I'm going to get maybe in the US it's a glitch, but it's in the terms and services or whatever for eBay that it doesn't apply to certain countries overseas quite a bit, quite a lot. So I'm not saying that there's a glitch because nothing's perfect either.
Brennan always trying to stir up trouble.
What was I doing? Was I pointing at you when I was explaining crimes in the hobby?
Yeah, I think you were motioning to me to set up some sort of a back channel where we can ship cards to Italy and then whatever.
Oh.
Yeah. The eBay global shipping program is super slick, I think is what he meant to say. Spritzel, what are you doing back there? Creeping up on me? All crazy?
Mm-hmm.
They take care of all the customs. I've used it and never had an issue. Okay.
Of course. Yeah, and then Eric Perry says eBay places an authenticity guarantee icon on cards that qualify, which is true. The little yellow guarantee authentic and things like that. I'm not here saying what eBay don't do, other than they don't say, hey, if it's coming from China, we're not going to authenticate it. I mean, I guess they just leave off the icon, but that's like fine print to me. Because, I don't look for that icon when I'm going to buy, to be honest.
I want to go back to this. This is an interesting question. So I think what US Sports Cards is talking about is there's a new Lord of the Rings card set. I think that this is what you're talking about, US Sports Cards. Maybe you're talking about something different, but
I'm going to guess that's the latest one that I've seen.
Yeah, there's a huge bounty on the Lord of the Rings, the one of one, like the Ring of Power, one of one card. There's a massive bounty on it. And the thing I thought was interesting is when you look at the popularity of like Magic the Gathering, Lord of the Rings, and you look at Pokemon, and granted, I'm not an expert on these, but from what I've heard, they're just rolling out serial numbered cards now, but think of all the potential that because these are already popular cards as far as the trading card game stuff, so if you add in serial numbered, these chase cards, I mean, it's gonna get wild, I think, for a lot of those sets, because that's something that's new to them. I don't really know. I think for US Sports Cards, I don't mind these golden ticket type cards. If you're buying, I think where it's kind of interesting when you're talking about state gaming and gambling and that sort of thing. If you buy a box of cards and you've got a box of cards that you bought and you've got 1 out of a million chance to get that one of one card, at least you're getting cards in return. Like you're buying a box of cards. So you're getting a physical product of something, to where I think that's different than if you buy into a break for that and you're trying to get that card and you don't get anything in return, and then you're basically you're throwing money into a pot and hoping that you win a sweepstakes, essentially, which is kind of what you're talking about here, where there's rules that are attached to that. That's where I think that it gets a little sticky. But I don't necessarily think it's gambling if you're buying your own product, because you are getting something in return. You are buying you're getting something. You're getting the cards. You might not get the $1 million card, but you're getting the cards. But I don't know. And honestly, I'm not some sort of like gambling law expert. So, and it varies state by state, so it makes it even more confusing.
Yeah, I think anytime you buy wax, regardless of what you're hoping to do with it, you're gambling, because you're putting money into something you don't know what you're going to get in return. You could win, you could lose. You could be up, you could be down on what you bought. Say you buy a box of wax for $500. If you don't pull something out of it's $500, you're down. If you pull a card out of it's $800, you're up. If you pull a one of one, you're way up. So regardless of the bounties, I mean, that's basically just the bounty is basically saying you have a buyer for this card if you pull it.
Yeah.
Which we're all looking for buyers for our cards if they're cards that we don't want, right? And they're cards that we want to sell. We're looking for buyers. So basically the buyer is there.
That's a good point.
Hey,
they're calling it a bounty, but it's really a buyer. It's just someone that's saying, I'll pay $1 million for that card.
If you want to talk about conflict of interest instead of gambling, that could be a possibility. If it's somebody like a Dave and Adams Card World that's putting out the bounty, but they're also a company that distributes wax, now you're talking about, okay, people may buy more of this product because they're trying to chase down the bounty card. So then in turn, you're selling more product and you're making money on the other end. But again, is that a conflict of interest or is that good marketing? So, everybody will look at it differently. It's kind of like you said earlier, golden tickets, right?
Yeah.
They sold a lot more Willy Wonka bars when you put 5 golden tickets in them in the movies, right? They were ripping through them. They didn't even want the chocolate. So it's kind of like that. And I've always related any part of when you're buying cards to sell or buying cards to try to make money, if you're not talking about the collector aspect of the hobby, as gambling, whether you're prospecting and just buying a player on a whim, or whether you're buying wax and hoping that you hit a card, you're spending your money in hopes of getting something better in return. Some people put it on a blackjack table. Some people buy sports cards.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. We are going to the national chasing majors. I think this is a good segue to Steve, to your national giveaway. Do you want to run some of that stuff?
Sure. So the national giveaway this year, 3 nights in Chicago. The room's paid for. There will be extra money to try to get you transportation if needed. If not needed, if you drive out, like my first winter 2 years ago, Sean, then there's extra money to do whatever you want to do with it, whether that's go out and eat, whether that's go gamble on cards, whether that's put it in your pocket and take it home with you. It's up to you. And like I said, right now, 3 nights, the Chicago Marriott. It'll be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. I'll be there with me. That's fine. You don't have to hang out with me. I get it. I'm not very cool. I'm old. And maybe you bring someone else with you if you want. But yeah, basically, that's the details. Is 3rd year that I'm doing it. And this is the 1st year that it's actually 3 nights instead of 2 nights. So we're doing the giveaway. We're going to get 3 people entered tonight. And you know how I do it. I just do like random trivia things. First person to answer in the comments. And I'm sorry if you're on a delay. It's the first one that we see is how people will get entered. And I'll take names down. And as we get closer, we'll have the giveaway one night where the entries go in and people compete. If you're familiar to the channel, you know how it works. If you're new to the channel, thank you. Good luck. You'll learn how it works. So that's that.
All right. Do you want to do that now, the trivia stuff, or how do you want to do it?
Yeah, we can. How many people do we have in the room? I'm not entitled to such info.
We've got about 80 that I'm seeing.
80-ish? Okay. 80s. Yeah, we can do one with 80. And yeah, it'll be should I do one with a sports card or should I just do one with content first? Do we want to segue into the cards we were talking about before we came on? Do we want to talk about? All right, well, I just told you guys that I bought a card that went to eBay Authenticity, did not go through the Authenticity program. We talked about that. The question that I'm going to have, this is probably going to be the toughest question of the night. And because when I buy sports cards for my collection, I've said it in the past, you guys know I buy memories. So basically, I just purchased a memory for my collection. And I can tell you where I was at. I was in my grandmother's living room on an old TV with a little knob, hardly had any channels. It was like a Saturday morning. And I was watching Saturday morning wrestling. So I'm going to give you guys a date. I want you to tell me what was significant about this date to somebody my age as a kid watching. January 23rd, 1984. What happened in the WWF? The biggest news in wrestling. January 23rd, 1984. It is going to be the first person who can get to Google, so good luck with that. I hope your connection is good.
I already know, but only because I know which card it is, so I know the backstory. I won't.
And only answer if you're interested in winning this trip.
And Charles, you can't win again this year, so don't even try it.
All right, so I'm seeing
I'm skipping
I'm
down to
seeing
the bottom.
well, I think I see 938. I think I see Eric Perry first. Because a lot of people are correct and a lot of these answers are correct, but so I'm going to take one that is correct. But
Where's Eric?
Eric Perry, right? Eric Perry at 938
9:30. There's a bunch at 9:38. Oh, okay.
says Hogan wins the belt.
Yes.
Yeah. So Hogan wins the belt. I'll accept that answer. I know it's a little bit, you could have said he beat the Iron Sheik. You could have said anything, but Hogan wins the belt. That was like his first WWF belt. That's basically what started Hulkamania. I didn't even know who he was till that morning, which is funny. So I'm going to write Eric. Eric, make sure that you, comment below and make sure that you're interested in going to the national giveaway. Because I don't want to enter people who don't want to win. Because sometimes people just participate with the trivia and then they answer and then they're like, oh, well, I don't even want to win. So we'll do that. If Eric doesn't want the entry, then we'll go to the next one. So Eric, just make sure you put that in our comments somewhere. But we got Hulk defeats Sheik. We got Hulk Hogan wins his first title.
Yep. Everybody was all over.
So we got a lot of them. And no, Patches, that's not why that's the question. That's not why that's the question. I'm going to bring that up. Patches says Iron Sheik just died. That's why it's a question, but that's not why it's a question. I just told you it was a question because it's a memory from my childhood, and I bought this card over 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, total
so
coincidence.
It was just a coincidence. I bought this card, like I said, I got it on like May 27th in the mail. So I had bought it a week before that. But the card that I had bought for my PC was, and this is the one that came from overseas, was a Panini Immaculate dual auto of Hulk Hogan and the Iron Sheik. Numbered out of 25, both on card. And it's a Panini redemption. It's a redemption, so it's sealed from the company. And it's numbered out of 25. And how many of them will get redeemed? How many of them will not get redeemed? I don't know. But when I saw this card, I was like, that's crazy, because it took me back to 1984. Mm-hmm. And I can remember that match like word for word. Now, somebody that's not really into wrestling nowadays, that I'm older, but as a kid, it was like the thing, it was just awesome. So PC memories, picked up this card. Unfortunately, the Iron Sheik did pass away today. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is that I knew who the Iron Sheik was, but I didn't know who Hulk Hogan was when he won. I was basically watching as a kid and being like, who's this jabroni that the Iron Sheik is about to beat? Yeah. And then he breaks out of the Iron Sheik's camel clutch, the first person to ever do it, and then wins the belt. And I was more cheering because the Iron Sheik lost than because Hulk Hogan had won. But then it automatically made me a Hulk Hogan fan because he was the guy that just beat the Iron Sheik. And I think that might be something that he doesn't get enough credit for. And I'm not going to talk that much about wrestling, but Iron Sheik was such a good heel at the time. I don't like to say bad guy because he might not have been a bad guy in real life, but he was such a heel at the time that it didn't matter who beat him. Whoever beat the Iron Sheik for the title was going to be a superstar because people were going to love him. They were going to be like a superhero because the Iron Sheik had done his job so well to make people dislike him that all they cared about was him losing that belt. So it just happened to be Hulk Hogan, and everybody knows what happens, after that. Yep, rest in peace, Iron Sheik.
So Bushwhacker 75, he's kind of, I was thinking about the same thing. Maybe talk a little bit about wrestling cards, because I know that might be your only wrestling card, right? You don't have a lot of wrestling cards, but it seems like wrestling cards have gained some momentum over the last, 6 months or so, 6 to 12 months. You just hearing more and more about it. I don't own any wrestling cards, but I pay attention to it just because it's interesting. But what are your thoughts there? I mean, is it kind of the similar nostalgia stuff that we have? Is it just like the 80s trickling into, now you've got, the new age wrestling and it's a nostalgia thing and people are into it again?
I think that there's big wrestling fans now, just because I don't watch wrestling like I used to doesn't mean that other people don't, because I don't watch any sport really like I used to. You know, as a kid, you look up to a lot of your favorite athletes. As an adult, you realize that most of them are in it for the money, right? to be real. But
Yeah.
but uh but I think that, okay, one of the main things in wrestling cards now that is probably making it popular is product release. There was never really any nice high end product. I had the only wrestling cards I had bought in the past were some old board game cards that featured Andre the Giant. They were printed in Japan. Sent them to SGC, got them graded. Nobody else had them. Nobody had seen them. They were slabbed. Made a nice flip off of them because there are collectors that likes that kind of stuff. Um, but I think now, Prism came out with a product that got pumped and dumped a lot. But now you have Immaculate coming out with a product, and you probably have, I don't know if Flawless has, but some of the higher end products are coming out that actually offer you a nice card, not just a card, a base card or a silver or a sticker auto, because all the Prism stuff is sticker autos. Like I said, this is a dual auto, and this is and not only, I mean, this is also the type of stuff that I buy. Now, I'm not talking about wrestling, but I buy dual autos. I love Immaculate, things like that. That's what I buy. If you look through my collection box, I have lots of dual autos from products like this. They have to be on card. I mean, it's crazy to me that this is on card.
Yeah.
In a world of sticker autos, and
what year is it?
I mean, did they have these guys together in a room? Because I don't even think they are friends or were friends.
What year is that card, Steve?
It's a new product. It's 2022.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is the first year I think that Immaculate has put out wrestling cards. So
it's crazy.
I think that having a high premium card for someone like me, this is okay. So, like I said, this was nostalgia for me. And this was the first time that there was this type of card obtainable. I have a Hulk Hogan. Topps Allen and Ginter numbered out of 10 that I picked up at the National last year. That was my Hulk Hogan PC card. And I don't overdo it with my PC with the people that I collect. I have that Hulk Hogan card. That's it. Now I have this one. Who knows? Maybe I move on from the other one and this one replaces it. But again, for me to buy this card, it's because there's not any of them. There are no more Hulk Hogan and Iron Sheik dual autographs. Not that I'm aware of, unless there's one in like Topps Transcendent or something from years ago, which there could be. I didn't do the checklist. I saw this card and I wanted it. That's kind of how it went. And didn't really think about anything else other than, it wasn't even the whole research of I got to have an out and an end game for that card. I got to buy it low so that I can leave myself some room. It wasn't. I was like, I need that card. I want that card for my collection. IPC memories, IPC nostalgia. That's a big piece of me. I just remember it. It puts me in my grandparents' living room. It puts me in that moment. And I lost both of my grandparents a couple years ago, years apart from each other. And that house sold like 2 months ago. I'll never step foot in that house again. But it puts me there. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. That's kind of that's Tales from the Crypt for me. The show Tales from the Crypt. My grandparents were the only ones that paid money for HBO. My parents didn't like buy cable or any of that growing up, but my grandparents had like HBO and Showtime and all the good stuff. And I remember my grandparents lived in an old house in Vermont where actually I'm going this weekend, and like mahogany wood filled house. It was unbelievable. But watching Tales from the Crypt in that house, it was kind of like the same house that's in the intro. So I totally get you. I totally get you. All right.
So I was just looking to double check to make sure Eric is interested in being entered.
Yeah, he did.
I see it. I see it. 940. I see it. Before I got all emotional and
hey, that's what it's all about, man.
That wasn't supposed to happen. Like that just happened. Like thinking about that.
Wrestlers do such a better job signing autos. Look so much better. Fair enough. I agree with this. Vintage card collector. Actually, I don't have any wrestling cards, but you know what I do have is a graded Sports Illustrated, and it's his first cover. So it's like it's a purple cover, and it's Hulk on Sports Illustrated. It's from like 1984, 85. That's the first time Hulk Hogan was in a Sports Illustrated. I thought that was kind of a cool thing to grab.
Oh yeah. Well, he mainstreamed, into movies and, everything. He took two wrestling companies to their heights. When he was in WWF, and then when he transitioned to WCW and became a heel, and the NWO and all that stuff in the 90s. I mean,
yeah,
took them to new heights, and then came back to the WWE and had a WrestleMania match against The Rock that he was supposed to be the bad guy in, and people cheered him so much that WWE had to make him a good guy again. They had to bring back the yellow and red.
Yeah, I was watching the Ultimate Warrior biography, which I thought was really interesting, and it was on YouTube actually. I think it's actually called Biography is the YouTube channel, but man, it was really, really good. I'll see if I can pull it up here in a couple minutes, but there's one on Bret Hart. There's the Ultimate Warrior one was really good. But just hearing his life story and just how, a lot of those wrestlers, I think a lot of the respect for those original wrestlers is they had really tough upbringings, a lot of them, and they were wrestling for like dimes. Like they weren't making any money. They were like packing into a van and traveling around the country for 330 days out of the year and beating up their bodies. It was for the love of the sport, the love of the game.
And I have a question for chat, because that just had those thoughts just, made me get emotional. Is there like a card or a collectible or something that you have? Maybe it's just something you've kept from when you were a kid and you still have it. Is there something that puts you somewhere a place that you can never be again? And it just puts you there, and it gives you that feeling like I just had is, maybe, I don't know, maybe it doesn't, maybe there's not many people out there that get affected by certain things like I do, but because I'm an emotional guy, because I'm real, and because I wear my heart on my sleeve, sometimes this happens. So
throw it in the chat. What is your collectible of choice that takes you back to your childhood? And not just your childhood, but like specific moments, I guess.
Like something that really it just, like I said, it gives you a flashback of whether it's sadness for a good reason or happiness for a good reason. Because sometimes sadness can be positive, but,
Charles threw up 89 Griffey Jr. Upper Deck rookie card. It was a moment in time, man. I remember when that set released as a kid. It was definitely a really cool moment in time.
And I'm just wondering if there's something that's really deep, though.
Something
like there's cards. I remember busting packs, and I remember cards on air, and I remember that card you had to have it because you were trading it with your friends, this, that, and the other. But is there something that doesn't put you in the card shop, that puts you in a moment, whether it's with a certain person or in a certain place?
I've got one
that it just puts you there, and you are like, I'm holding this, and I can visualize this moment.
One thing that was cool is my dad. I was talking with my dad a few weeks back, and we were just talking about cards and me collecting as a kid, and he shared a memory that I'd forgotten. So that was really fun. He was like, I remember you were opening. So it was 1990 Marvel Universe packs. And he said, I remember that you pulled out of one of those packs a Silver Surfer hologram card. And you were so excited about that Silver Surfer hologram card. And I'd forgotten about that. I'd forgotten about that. So I thought that was really cool because he was sharing like a memory that I had forgotten about. And then I was like, oh man, I did pull that card, and then I was like, because I have a lot of my childhood stuff. So I tried to go through it to see if I could find it in there. But that was kind of cool too, when you have like parents or grandparents that'll tell you, like, I remember when I used to buy you these at the gas station or whatever. It brings you back.
I see Bushleger talking about Kenner Mask, and I believe I remember that toy. I may have had one, but I think that was the one where the cars would turn into like airplane or into a tank. There, I remember there was like I don't know if it was a T-Bird or some kind of car that a Mustang maybe. It like the doors opened up and it turned into wings, and then there was like a blue like 57 Chevy that would turn into a tank. And I think there was a gas station called like Bunker Bunker Mountain or Boulder Mountain or Boulder Mountain maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And the gas station turned into like a fortress where the gas tanks pumped up and it had guns and the boulder come down rolling down the hill. I remember, and the guys put masks on that had like powers also. The guys that drove the cars and all. If I got the right stuff, I think I got the right one. I remember that one too. And not a lot of people talk about the mask cars, but yeah.
Those were cool toys. I didn't have that stuff as much as I had like Masters of the Universe and, you know, all the stuff that came after, the Thundercats and that stuff. That's a cool one. Orlando, signed foul ball from the Orioles in 70. My grandfather caught it, took me into the dugout after the game. That's pretty sweet.
Let's see. Yeah, just looking at some comments. So, again, so before we got off cue and I asked the comments a question and without permission, but anyway, we were talking about wrestling cards and I was saying that I think it's product. You know, you didn't have, it happens with all sports, right? Before there was basketball cards weren't popular when there wasn't a lot of products, and then they got popular and then there became a lot of products. So, you know, remember when it was just baseball cards? I don't know. I'm old enough to remember when it was just baseball cards. I'm not going to say that everybody cared about because I'm sure people did collect, but I remember when football and basketball cards especially would just sit on the shelf, like at your local pharmacy or your grocery store or convenience store or whatever. They just sat there. It's always baseball cards. It's funny because a lot of the people that are typing up their memories in the chat is baseball related.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
I'm going to guess.
I came in right as football, like 88, 89. Like 88 was when I got in, but I was 7. And then when I was 8, it was like 89 pro set football was awesome. And the 89 draft class was insane. And then 1990 was also good. You know, so, but I think really that football and basketball cards really drew me in, kept it going. Because I liked buying, you know, Donruss baseball, but once I saw football and basketball cards that weren't, you know, as they became more mainstream and more products came out, I was really hooked.
Right, and look at over the years because they started making everything, started getting cards. You know, UFC did it, and then people were like, "Oh man, I want to go back and get a George St. Pierre card. He has older cards that I really didn't know about because it wasn't until product awareness brought, you know, made people be like, oh, I want it." Or soccer. We talked about soccer cards. There was 2014 Prism that nobody cared about until 2020. And then there was a mad rush on that. And now kind of nobody really cares about it again. But again, it had people going back and chasing older soccer cards and soccer stickers. It just brought awareness because now there was being new product being pumped into the market. Now, I don't know if it'll have that effect on wrestling. And I won't know if it does unless I research it because I don't collect wrestling cards. If I did collect wrestling cards, I'd be able to tell you how prices and such were being affected. So I think it, you know, just relates to the products and things like that. Now, question is WWE exclusive to Panini right now? I remember they were Topps not too long ago. But if they're exclusive to Panini, does Panini hang on to the WWE license and continue to make these products? And that's a way for Panini to stay in the game, in business, for lack of a better term, because they have a product that people want to buy, kind of like Upper Deck with Marvel cards and Upper Deck with, you know, they have hockey, or will Fanatics just buy that too and do wrestling? I mean, I don't know. And it's WWE. There's other wrestling, one popular, I guess, wrestling company out there that I think Upper Deck might have made cards for. I'm not sure. If you guys know in the comments who made AEW cards, I couldn't tell you. But, you know, see, I'm not the wrestling card guy. That's more like Merle. You know, Merle was always really into the wrestling cards. But yeah, and some people are just famous. It doesn't matter what they do. Like I have like Dale Earnhardt, right? It doesn't matter if NASCAR is popular right now. It doesn't matter if NASCAR will ever reach the heights that it was at. Dale Earnhardt will always be a legend.
Yeah.
So it's the same concept you can apply to certain people in certain sports, certain products. That sport may not be popular. It may not be highly collectible because, like you said, not a lot of people buy NASCAR cards. But Dale Earnhardt cards are expensive because he's a legend. He's right up there with Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. Charles, no worries. Everything in 1987 was all about the ugly wood frames. It was like the pools, like the above ground pools had wood frames. I remember our house, like all the walls were wood, were wood. Like wood was all the rage back in the 80s.
Oh, that's cool. Crazy Kev says he had a big collection of Hess trucks. I remember those. I never had any, but I remember my friends having some of those.
Yeah,
Those
I
were
remember
cool.
them too. I never owned any though.
Yeah, because I think the lights and everything like came on some of those Hess trucks, didn't they? They were mad. They were
Some
like
of them
die
were-
cast.
Yeah, some were fancy.
Yeah. And Brandon Ryan says, "Did you ever buy Garbage Pail Kids because all the sports cards were gone?" I bought Garbage Pail Kids because I thought they were cool. I remember buying them and trading with my friends, and they were like 25 cents a pack.
Oh, Global. Your dad was a pro wrestler and trained with some of the all-time greats in the 90s. That's cool. First card bought at a shop and down the street from Grandma and Pagoda. Yeah. I remember as a kid buying like an 80, what was it? Like an 86 tops Phil Simms, which is rookie is like 80 tops. But just thinking like, oh my God, I can't believe I got like an 86 tops Phil Simms card. And it was like $3 or $4, at the time at the card shop. It was probably worth like $1. But I remember thinking like, oh man, I got like a 86, just having like an 86 tops card of a great player at the time. It's like, and this was like an 88 or 89, so it was like, man, this is so cool.
Oh man, everybody's bringing up all kinds of cool stuff in chat. I keep seeing the comments coming in at the bottom.
I'll just keep on going down the list.
Well, Hobby Champ said he used to love the muscle figurines. Those were the little pink wrestling figures, but they had characters. Like there was one that looked like a brick wall. I mean, there was all kinds of different ones, and they didn't bend or anything. They could bend, but I mean, they weren't made to bend.
Yeah.
And they even had like a little belt that had a ring on it.
There's all sorts of cool toys, like Mad Balls. And do you remember Battle Beasts? Battle Beasts were like the little, they came in two were in a pack. Those were really cool too.
So I'll tell you how my friend and I used to play the muscle figures. So we would each pick our figures, and then we would like put them in the middle, and then we'd paper, rock, scissors. And whoever won the Rochambeau got to do a move on the other one's wrestler or whatever. And if you got 3 moves in a row, you could then go for a pin. And if you went for the pin and won the Rochambeau, the first person to get 3 moves could go for a pin. And if you won the Rochambeau on the pin, then you won. So you had to get 3 moves in first, and then you had to win Rochambeau also for the pin. So that's how we used to play. It was fun. And we would go, and whoever ran out of figures first lost.
89 score football always be my favorite set, according to Vintage Card Collector. It's my all-time favorite set too. That was the first thing I bought when I got back into the hobby in 2018, was a complete set and a binder of 89 score, full complete set for like $40. I had to have it. Charles, I didn't know you were a trust fund baby. You were ripping 89 score football. Then you had some serious dough, man.
Yeah, no, I was ripping Pro Set.
Yeah, I was not ripping 89 score. My parents were like, "Yeah, right, dude. You'll have Pro Set, and you'll like it. That's it."
I was like, I'm going to pull the Vince Lombardi trophy, and I'm going to pull the Refrigerator Perry error card.
Yeah, it was all about the error cards back in the day. I remember that. Wizard Comics. I used to love the Wizard Comics. Yep, I remember that. Absolutely. Set building from 87. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is when Brendan was asking about the Garbage Pail Kids. All right, let's see. I'm only 6 minutes behind.
Global says
it's a full pallet of 89 score football. Oh my God.
Damn. Global says it's weird not hearing the train going past in my background, but you can't mention the train. It's like Beetlejuice. You can't say it 3 times.
Which, by the way, Beetlejuice 2 is on the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Beetlejuice 2 is on the way with Michael Keaton, with Winona Ryder, I believe, and then also with the girl that played Wednesday is going to be in that movie.
I don't know her name.
It's like Ortiz. No, it's not. I can't think of her name.
I remember the older one with Christina Ricci played her, but I don't know the one now.
Oh, yeah, from Wednesday. Have you seen the show Wednesday on Netflix?
I know it exists, but I've never watched it.
Ricci, so Christina Ricci's in it.
Oh, yeah, I heard.
Yeah. She is still a fox.
I heard she was in another show, too, called like Yellow Jackets or something, which I haven't watched either.
I haven't seen that.
I don't watch a whole lot of TV.
That's fair. I don't really either. I still haven't finished The Mandalorian, the latest season. We've still got 2 or 3 episodes left.
Oh, I finished that. I did finish that.
Did it finish strong or not really?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you're looking for or what you're trying to get out of it. Yeah, the whole series was pretty good, I guess. I think all the Star Wars stuff now is just kind of watered down. So it's hard. It's hard to duplicate the great stuff. You're always going to have high expectations for a Star Wars series or movie.
Yeah.
It's built in. It's built in. It's baked in goodness, just like, with cards, just like Josh Allen, right? So
although they've
high expectations, hard to live up to.
They completely screwed up the last trilogy to where I almost feel like expectations have come down quite a bit. That's probably why, in part everyone loves The Mandalorian, because that last trilogy was like hot garbage. But yeah, no, I'm with you though. There is kind of like an expectation that's built in.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Where are we? Okay. I still have half the palette. Oh my gosh. That's cool. Upper Deck made AEW cards. And there is a lot of comments. 87 tops is 25th anniversary of the 62 top set. I know. I always laugh at that, Brendan, when I hear like, we're opening wax. No, you're not. You're opening packs. You're not opening wax. You're opening product, but you're not opening wax. You're not opening like 50s, 60s, packs of cards. It's kind of funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We're going to open
wax. You would have wax stains on your cards sometimes if the card was on the back of the pack or whatever.
Yeah.
That wax stain.
How are we doing
stains too?
The basketball game?
Yeah. What is the basketball game looking like?
Let me take a quick look. Nuggets up by 10 with 5 minutes left in the third.
It's kind of like where we were at last game, right?
I feel like every time we come on, there's a basketball game on.
Well, I think game 2 was about Nuggets up by 10 at one point near the end of the second or something. I don't know. Yeah,
and the Heat turned up the heat.
It's like 10-point lead in the NBA is like nothing these days.
True.
It's just not, I guess. I mean, was a 10-point lead a stronger lead back in the day because defensive basketball was stronger? I feel like I used to feel pretty good when my team had a 10-point lead.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't even feel very good when my baseball team has a 10-run lead these days.
Marbles, huge in the 90s. The A-team. There's A-team stuff too out there.
Marbles.
Yeah, we'll look back when you're right, when all the NFTs and all the digitalness takes over, when the Chat GPT comes in and it takes over the world, and we're sitting here talking about random stuff from the 80s. You're right, Brendan. You're probably right. Yeah, you were definitely that rich kid, that annoying rich kid, Charles.
You want to do another question?
Yeah, let's roll through it because I have a hard stop, probably like the hour and a half mark. So we're like
okay.
5.
So we want to get into more. I already know the questions that I'm going to ask, but
all right, chat, get ready.
So, all right, another question to get you entered for the national giveaway. So only answer if you're interested in accepting and can accept. All right, it's non-transferable. You can't win it for your best friend. You can't win it for somebody else in chat. Look, Bradley already answered Pearl Jam. See, now I can't ask any Pearl Jam questions because everybody's just got Pearl Jam on quick dial. Okay, question is, in my last video, which was a couple weeks ago, I bought something that wasn't sports card related, but I used sports card money to buy it. What was it? Super easy question if you watch the video. If you didn't watch the video, you don't deserve to win anyway.
All right. Do we have any answers? All right. We got some answers.
I have let's see. I basically have close enough answers. Let's
Okay.
see. I'm seeing Vintage Card Collector first. He wrote grill. I mean, technically I bought a flat top, but a flat top grill. People call them flat top grills. So, we'll go with grill. I didn't say beef specific. So I think that is vintage. That's who I have first. Is that who you see first? I see time? At 10:09, right under the
yes. Yep. Yeah. Vintage card collector.
Card collector. So we got vintage card collector tonight. Eric Perry so far tonight. And then we will get one more.
Yeah. Why don't we roll into that last one?
You want to roll into it now?
Yeah.
Get it over with? You want to let the tension build? All right. Yeah. You see, Dustin's already trying to get an escape route so he can be like, I got to go. I gotta go.
No, I got to catch a flight in the morning, but yes. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. One more question. Was this last live stream, or I don't know, either last off-centered or the off-centered before that. I can't quite remember. We were blindsided by a special guest. Who were we blindsided by? Who was that special guest? So you had to have been watching the live stream then.
Should be pretty easy because we don't have.
It's easy. On. Yeah, we don't have any guests on.
It wasn't at the beginning of the show.
Maybe we should. We should have a guest on every now and then.
Yeah.
But someone just popped in out of nowhere, and I think I'm seeing Jordan come in first.
Yep.
So Jordan has it. A whole lot came in, but I see Jordan Hudson having it first with Ken Golden.
Yep. Ken Golden joined up.
All right, so that's 3 for tonight. I'm going to try to get 3 entered every week, guys. So if it's not on here with Dustin, I'll try to put out a YouTube short if that's all the time that I have. Maybe I'll do a live stream by myself, which nobody will watch because we all know Sports Card Dad is the draw, not me. And then
not during NBA Finals.
Or if I have a video, I will. I like to use the videos to actually develop my questions so that I can ask them when we're live. But anyway,
that's good.
We're going to get more people entered.
Those are longtime viewers in there. Eric Perry, Jordan Hudson, and Vintage Card Collector, I think, is as well. Those are names that have been around.
They all go way back, and I know Jordan is super OG.
Yeah.
Yeah, super OG. So, but yeah, and we're going to draw in no later than a month because I want to give people plenty of time to plan. I want to give the winner plenty of time to plan. So it's June 7th. We'll draw no later than the first week of July. So
yep,
we got to get them in this month. There are some random ones also being selected from IG posts that I put up and YouTube polls as well. So we're probably going to have 5 entries at the moment. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's always, you've been doing that for 3 years running. And it's a lot. It's a serious win. A couple $1,000, $1,500 or whatever. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool, especially for someone that might otherwise not go to the national just because you can't afford it. It's a lot of money. It's a big commitment, So yeah, no, that's really awesome.
Someone said they can't see the comments from my channel. Is that normal? I'm not sure. When I see them, they have like a little paper clip on them.
Yeah, exactly. That's how, I don't know if we can see it that way, but we can see.
You may have to be on my channel. You may have to be watching it on my channel to actually see the comments on my channel. But I can see the comments from my channel and Dustin's channel, and he can see the same thing.
Yeah.
But if you're watching Dustin's channel, if you're watching it stream on his actual channel, then you can probably only see people commenting on him. And if you're watching it on my channel, you can probably only see people commenting on mine. I believe that's probably how it works.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking so. Cool.
Brandon Ryan says John Reckoning is dreaming up his next video. That's John Reckoning. That's a pretty cool name. If you were, I mean, it would be. I mean, it sounds like a. I don't know. It sounds like a.
It sounds like a Western, like a gunfighter or something.
Either that or like a. Oh damn, like John Wick, like a badass that kicks ass, yeah. Kind of. You know what I mean? Like John Reckoning. Like if you were a wrestler, you could have that name. John Reckoning coming down the aisle. What would your theme song be?
Yeah.
Billie Jean. Did a good video today on culture cards. I like culture cards.
You did?
So, hey.
Who did it?
No, John Reckoning did.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Whitney Houston in the Super Bowl and stuff.
Oh, nice.
I have that because I have that Pro Set card in a PSA 10, the Whitney Houston singing the national anthem, the 91 Pro Set or something, 92 Pro Set. It's in my old collection over there.
The best is that 91 Pro Line Portraits football card set. That's so 90s, that set.
Oh yeah, the Pro Line, yeah.
The Pro Line Portraits where they're all wearing like starter jackets and like
Zubaz. They got the Zubaz on.
Yeah, they're wearing
the Zubaz pants.
Yeah, that set is awesome.
I do have a question. I wonder how this works. Just out of curiosity. If someone is blocked on my channel or vice versa, are they blocked from the live stream altogether? Like say I have someone blocked and you don't have them blocked or vice versa. Does it just put them all into one big blocked gene pool?
Good question. Yeah. Good question. I don't know. I guess we'll find out if we never see our boy. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know the answer to this, Michael Stone. The SGC football special for $15 a card. That's a good question. I don't know if they're getting it at a better price or something to where they have a little bit of room on it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But you know what? If something's $15 a card, I'm probably not going to use a group submitter.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to get that much of a deal to where I'm going to trust someone else with my cards. I'm not saying it's not okay to trust a group submitter because I group submit, but I'm saying it's directly from my door to my door. So it's going to be that much quicker. And yeah, I mean, how much more money are you going to save? Because there's always a markup from a group submitter because they got to save money. So even if they're getting a better deal, you're going to still get the markup on top of that. So
yeah, and it's kind of like to what you're saying, the prices are starting to get to a point where it makes you wonder, why would you, unless there's some value add that maybe they look over your cards and you really like that, you're paying them $1 a card or whatever, and maybe that makes sense for you. But if it's just strictly to hand them over to the company or whatever, I don't know. So yeah, I agree.
Bushliger said he's surprised that you haven't blocked him yet. Bushliger's not doesn't do any. Bushliger's
no, I think he's come out. I just don't remember. Bushliggers, have you commented on my stuff in a while? I can't remember if you leave me like nasty comments or not. I don't remember. But honestly, it's a pretty long runway to get blocked. I let a lot of stuff go. Yeah. I mean, if you get really personal or whatever, and it's consistent, I'll let it go once or twice. But if it's like for people that have done, they do it like 5 to 10 times, I'm like, all right, this is a headache. I don't want to deal with it. But I probably blocked a dozen people in 3 years. It's very low, very low.
I think the only people I blocked. I think I have like maybe 2, and it's only because they were attacking other people. Like they were like in my chat of a live stream or something. They were attacking other commenters or attacking
Right.
people in the comments of my thing. So I blocked them. I don't know if I've ever really blocked anybody for attacking me or anything like that. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind being harassed. You know, people will get after me in the comments sometimes. It's fine. But when you start like, you know, if it's just endless and it's very, very personal, then nah. You know,
This drink is disgusting. Don't get vitamin water.
is it green?
Vitamin water, coconut lime. I was like, oh, new flavor. Let me try that. Ugh. I don't even know why I'm drinking it. It's just, yeah. I don't know.
Oh, is Rambo is Rambo what is it a burner? I feel like Rambo might
Trigger
be
finger, maybe.
yeah, Rambo is definitely a burner.
I haven't seen Ziggy tonight, but Ziggy asked me a question on my Facebook because I caught a snake in my yard. I don't know if you saw that on Facebook.
Yeah, I did. I thought it was funny
There,
how you thought your dog was going to attack the snake. I'm pretty sure that
oh
Daisy would have a tough time with that snake.
no, Daisy would destroy that snake. See, so Daisy's got Jack Russell Terrier in her, so she hunts stuff all the time. Like she's a smaller dog, but she's crazy Daisy. Like she's chill. You've met her, but when she gets out in the yard by herself, and she has a dog door, so if she catches something, she could bring it back in the house with her, and it's like she's always outside. She's right here. She's knocked out. I took her to the beach today and let her run, and she was all after stuff at the beach, trying to get horseshoe crabs and stuff. But I saw the other day. Oh, it's not the other day now. It's probably 3 weeks. A friend was over and he was like, "Oh, there goes a snake," and it was like going down my fence line. When I turned and looked at it, it was Daisy hot on the trail of a snake, and the snake was like lashing back at her and stuff, trying to scare her away. And it
Oh
ran
no.
and it got away. And I said to my friend, I said, "Dude, you just casually go, hey, look at that snake." You don't say, "Damn, dude, your dog is chasing a snake." You know what I mean? Because when I look, I just casually look to turn and I'm like, "Oh my God, Daisy, what are you doing?" Right. So this snake was out like sunbathing or sitting down in like a crawl space where the sun was beaming in yesterday. And I was having people over for a pool party. And I'm like, it's just a common garter snake, but it had gotten big. It was about 3.5 feet long, if you saw it on Facebook.
Yeah,
Which is pretty big for a common garter snake, but a common garter snake's harmless. Like I don't even think they can penetrate a dog's skin. I don't even think their fangs are big enough for that, and they aren't poisonous. They're actually really useful to have if you have a garden or things like that. But Daisy would grab that thing by its neck and drag it in the house. So I'm like, I don't want to kill the snake. I want to relocate it. So I caught it. I put it in one of my coolers, and I drove it down to one of the state parks that has a pond. It's called Abbott's Mill here in Delaware. Abbott's Mill State Park. First, I called the state park because they have a nature center and they have like field trips and stuff there for kids. And I was like, "Would you guys like a 3.5 foot garter snake to put in a terrarium or something for your exhibits?" And they were like, "No, sorry, we can't rehouse it or anything." I was like, "Okay." So then I went over by the pond and the woods, and I let him out, and he slithered away, went into the woods, and that was it.
Well, I think we should end on the snake story. I think that's a strong moment. We should end on the snake story. Pack it in for 2 weeks. I got to get to a funeral this weekend. Unfortunately, I'm flying out first thing in the morning, but then everything kind of calms down for me a little bit. So we're going to be in 2 weeks on our next show. Maybe we'll have Neo on because we're going to do kind of a pre-national show with him coming up at some point. So maybe on the next one or the one after that as we get closer. Talk shop a little bit.
Yep. And I'm sure he'll have some national stories to tell from last year that aren't true.
Yeah. He's going to come out with all sorts of BS. All right.
Oh, we walked 5 miles for a slice of pizza.
He made me walk 25 miles.
Don't ever trust Steve when he says something's right around the corner, because it's not right around the corner.
Rob's going to have like one of those chariots, like 4 guys carrying him in on some sort of like a, on a couch or a chair or whatever.
Boys and girls. Steve does not know what he's talking about when it's just down the street. Oh, God. Now he's going to be mad at us for making fun of him.
Yeah. I was catching strays.
Yeah, right.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for hanging out tonight. Appreciate it. Even with NBA finals going on. Thanks for hanging out. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll see you later.
See you.